I want to thank all of you for coming out. I know it's a little late, but I appreciate all of you being here. So I want to make sure everybody knows, again, our homicide investigators continue to work on this case. There's still some things we don't know, and I can't wait to stand up here at a time when I can tell you, hey, we know everything from A to Z. I don't know if we'll ever get there, but that is absolutely the goal. But I thought it was important to update you on some information we've received really in the last several hours and wanted to put it together and bring it before you. So as I have previously reported, there were a total of 3 firearms that we recovered. We recovered one firearm from the scene at Alhambra. That's well documented about where the young man took the gun away from the suspect. When the suspect committed suicide, he shot himself. That was a second firearm, and the third firearm was recovered. It was a rifle that was recovered from his home in Hemet when we served a search warrant. And one of the things that, and I don't have to point it out, I mean, all of you are looking at the weapons. So here in the first picture to my left is the weapon that we believe to be the murder weapon. This is the weapon that was recovered in Alhambra that the suspect used to kill the 11 victims and shoot the other 9. The second photograph reflects the handgun that the suspect committed suicide with. And the third picture up there is the rifle that was recovered from the search warrant that we served on that day. So just, I'm going to give you some specifics about the weapons. So that first weapon here is identified as a Cobray, that's C-O-B-R-A-Y, model CM11-9, also known as a MAC-10. The weapon was not registered in the state of California. It was purchased by the suspect on February 9th of 1999 in the city of Monterey Park. And again, that's the first one here to my left. The weapon number 2 that he committed suicide with is identified as a Norinco 7.62 times 25 millimeter pistol, and that handgun is registered to the suspect. Number 3, the rifle is identified as a Savage Arms .308 caliber bolt action rifle that was also registered to the suspect. The other item that I wanted to report to all of our community was that earlier today, Monterey Park police officers recovered a motorcycle in the 200 block of South Garfield Avenue in the city of Monterey Park. That motorcycle was registered to our suspect. It was located 1 block south of the crime scene. Homicide investigators determined that the motorcycle was parked there sometime on Saturday, just prior to the mass murder. Investigators believe it was placed there by the suspect as an alternative getaway vehicle. As of today, based on the interviews the investigators are still conducting, they have not been able to establish a connection between the suspect and any of the victims thus far. The suspect was not married. We've gotten information from different places that, you know, asking us if one of the victims was his wife. And not only have we found that he wasn't married, but we have not been able to tie him in romantically to any of the victims so far. Will that change down the road? You got to understand, when we get up here, it's to present you with facts and not just rumors and information still may change. According to witness accounts of witnesses that we've interviewed thus far, we do not believe the suspect has frequented the dance studio in the last 5 years. We've also been hearing a lot of information that he was recently there. Based on the statements we have, he hasn't been there in 5 years. And again, maybe we'll get more information where that will change. And I want to stress something, that if people believe they have information that can help us with a motive in this case, please make sure you contact investigators of our Homicide Bureau at 323-890-5500. A lot of rumors out there, a lot of people sharing stories, but again, we will only put out information that we have verified through facts and evidence, and tying the information to somebody specific. So with that, let me open it up to any questions that any of you have. Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about what you left behind any notes? Did you find anything of why he might have targeted both ballrooms, even if he hasn't frequented at least one of them in the last 5 years?
So when we served the search warrant on his house in Hemet, and obviously the search warrant on his van, we've recovered a lot of items. We talked about electronics being recovered. We've also talked about there's a whole list of items, paperwork that we're going through. Investigators, as they go through that, we're looking at everything, every which way but loose. And again, with the goal of trying to find a motive, and hopefully we can. Sometimes it's frustrating when something like this happens. It's so tragic because we're trying to understand it, and it doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
So right now it looks like he picked these two places almost at random?
We don't know the answer to that. We hope to find out, but we just don't know yet. Yes, ma'am.
Sheriff, was there anything of significance found in his motorcycle or on the motorcycle? One, and then two, is there any indication that his ex-wife was a star dance regular? And if he hadn't been there the past 5 years, is there any indication that he had been a dancer or a frequent, customer there prior to 5 years?
The information we have is just that he hasn't been there in 5 years. In regards to the ex-wife, we don't have that information factually, or we have been able to verify that. We're hearing some of those things, but this is why I'm asking for people to come forward so we can attach a name to information, and we can follow up just to make sure that we're verifying anything that's coming through. And in regards to the motorcycle, the question about anything that we found on the motorcycle, we're going to have to get back to you on that. It was recovered, and I'm not sure at this point what else we recovered other than the motorcycle that was confirmed to be registered to the suspect.
Sheriff, have we got any information regarding the weapons you've seized here about their legality, when they were purchased, anything along those lines?
Yes, let me repeat the information I gave earlier on that. The question is, did we, in regards to where the weapons, if they were registered, the legality, in regards to the first weapon here, the Cobra model, that weapon was not registered in the state of California, but it shows that it was purchased by the suspect on February 9th in the city of Monterey Park. The second weapon that you see up here that he used to kill himself, the Norinco, was registered to the suspect, and the .308 rifle that you see on my far left to your far right was registered to the suspect.
Did he have any prior firearms or weapons violations that might have disqualified him from purchasing any weapons?
The information we have that the suspect was arrested back in 1990 for unlawful possession of a firearm. That was the only thing that we found in his criminal history.
Nothing in the way of a conviction or anything else?
Not to my knowledge.
You say that weapon was purchased in, what, the M10 was purchased where?
It was purchased in Monterey Park
Private party?
by the suspect.
Private party or that registered dealer?
I don't have that information.
Now, that weapon has been illegal in California since 1992. So, you know, no dealer would be able to sell that unless it was a registered weapon under the state of California. So how did this guy get it? Do we know?
I do not know the answer to that, but that's something else we're looking at.
ATF has tracked that down, though?
ATF is assisting us just as the FBI is, and they're helping us with that information, assisting us to get that information. Yes, ma'am.
We understand that he went to Hemet Police, I believe, early last month, with some type of grievance or something he wanted them to possibly look into. Do you know anything about that? Are you able to elaborate on that situation and how that possibly plays into a vendetta or something here?
That's something else we're looking at. We don't have the specific information. It's part of everything that we're looking at. But that information has come to us through the Hemet Police Department, and it'll be part of what we're looking at to try and put together, again, the motive as to why he did this.
We're going to wrap up here. That is Sheriff Robert Luna with the LA County, following up on the Monterey Park mass shooting of 11 people killed at a Lunar New Year celebration Saturday night and Sunday morning. The ages of those victims everywhere from 57 to 76. The sheriff bringing up new information tonight, specifically, Leslie, about 3 firearms that they recovered. One at the scene in Alhambra. That was that fight with that young man at that dance hall. Another one was found at the suicide of the shooter. That was in Torrance. That was in his van. And the third firearm that was recovered was at the suspect's home in Hemet. We do not know a motive at this point in time. The sheriff saying that the suspect did not appear to have any girlfriends, was not married at the time of the shooting, and no connection to any of those victims.
Yeah, he also went on to say that earlier today, this is some new information. Police discovered and recovered a motorcycle just 1 block south of the Star Ballroom. So they say that motorcycle was registered as suspect. It was parked there, they believe, sometime Saturday. So by the suspect, they believe, and they believe it was an alternative way possibly for this suspect to get away. But we know that he was eventually found in that white van in Torrance.